Subscribe and keep watching for a special offer coming soon from Oline.
UtahGunExchange.com, the nation's patriot marketplace. Buy, sell, trade.
Do you like knives? Do you like cutting things? Watch till the end of this video and Blade HQ is going to cut some things.
All right, so we got some more of the Condor designs now. I'm here with Joe Flowers.
Howdy.
Joe.
What's up, man? How you been?
Dude.
Doing well?
Good to finally shoot a video with you. What's been 4 years?
Yeah, well, we just keep missing each other and stuff. And the other interesting thing is you actually got me sitting down, which is also unheard of at these shows.
That's true, that's true. I've never seen you sit down in your whole life. All right, well, let's talk about some of your new designs and what's going on this year.
Well, we have a big widespread table here. Not all of these are my designs. Some of these are ones that Condor's done too, and we have some new designers as well. But we'll go with smaller to bigger. Why not that?
Yeah, go.
So back in the day in the Alps, mummy, a dead body was discovered, and they nicknamed the gentleman Otzi. We did a knife in honor of the knife that was found at this archaeological treasure, kind of to encapsulate our human story and our human heritage.
How about that?
Plus, we got a really cool flint type of
texture
finish. Yeah. Everybody seems to like that.
I love it. So tell us about what went into making that texture.
Well, I really ticked off our designer Jorge down there because he had the first texture and it didn't look good. It looked like something that you put on the side of a Jeep for some grips or something.
Oh,
and
gotcha. Yeah,
we had to make it look more stoned up. So he took this giant, huge metal plate and sanded it all down and then did a new one. He's like, Joe, what do you think? I'm like, that's the one that we want,
good,
boss.
cool,
And
cool.
So he was very patient with me when we did that. It's got this wire wrapped braid. This wire wrap is recessed, so it doesn't really touch your hand and cut up your hand too much. People are always worried about that, but I use knives a lot, and I'm all about the ergonomics, and that's important. So when you see that wire braid, that's just for grips, but more just for looks, and just for your viewing pressure.
When your fingers kind of sink into it, but it's not outside so much and interfering with
it's like stipling on a 1911 or something. It's important. Now the Otzi knife that he had like a basket style made out of a type of reed, I believe. We can't necessarily do that, so we went with a smaller, more primitive style pouch. Check out the leather on that though.
That's beautiful, man.
These are all made in El Salvador, which is a country smaller than South Carolina, and that country is primarily a boot making country, and that kind of shows in some of the material that we work with.
Excellent.
If I just made this knife just like this, it would be boring. All right, man, it just looked like a kitchen knife or something. I don't know.
It'd still be a good knife.
Yeah, it'd still be a great knife, but man, it would be lame. So first we started by going, all right, what can we do to make this sexier? Then I started looking at Polynesian designs, and we called this the Indigenous because there's a lot of Sami style. This is a Scandinavian reindeer herding culture that has carvings on a lot of their puko style blades. And there was a transition between that and the Polynesian style carvings where there were a lot of similarities. There's no transition, they weren't like related. Very similar. So I tried to find the ones that were on both of those and made the Indigenous just to kind of combine stuff together. So makes it kind of have an interesting look. You can see it on there. Honestly, I like big knives, but I'm more excited about the smaller one than I am the bigger one because it's so handy to have carving. If you got like a big old knife at home or a machete, this alongside it will help you with all of your carving tasks.
So is it Indigenous and mini Indigenous?
Yeah.
Okay.
Indigenous and I believe Indigenous EDC. I design these things and I should know the names of them. We should be smart because some of these have the names on them. I'm like, oh, I can't remember what the name is on that Toki. There it is, right there.
Yeah.
This is also a new one, designed by a new designer for us. His name is Walter Matthews, and he is from Chile. And Toki has an interesting Chilean story with that. And you can see some of the features on this particular knife, like the back for a fire steel. And it's way thicker, so the batoning guys can baton with this like crazy. Bow drill divot. And it also comes with a sheath, which is up here, and I can grab it later, that also has a flint striker.
Oh, cool. Comes with the flint striker?
Yes, it comes with the flint striker.
Oh, nice.
Not a ferro rod striker, a straight up American frontiersman style flint striker, which is pretty cool. That'll also work on ferro rods. You know glass works on ferro rods?
No.
Yeah, you can bust open a piece of glass, use it on ferro rods. Yeah, it's harder.
I never thought of that, but that makes tons of sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the grind on that.
It's a giant Condor grind. We have that on a lot of our different grinds. It's like a giant convex grind.
Yeah.
It's good, it's meaty, You know, you see people buy a lot of other companies' knives and end up doing that grind on them. So we're like, oh, we'll just save them the time.
Yeah, just do it straight from the factory.
We listen to you and you.
That is a big meaty knife, but yeah, I can see that working hard, easy. I love it.
This is a new Condor design, the Franciscan axe. It's used more for battle. You can throw it very well too. It'll chop well, but not nearly as well as some of our other tomahawks. American hickory handle, burnt and made in this style so that it'll have that bow to it. And sadly, I'm not going to be bleeding on YouTube. That didn't stab me. I know you're hoping to.
I was really hoping. This is, I love the way it's swept back.
It's this French quarter of the axes.
So, what's the theory behind that though? Why does it have this sweep like this? Does that give you more
sciencey magic?
Sciencey magic.
Sciencey magic. Yeah, that's it. No, it's if you have that upswept tip at the very, very end of the curve, that kind of makes all of the force go right at the very end, because you see how this is facing forward more and this is facing back. At the end of the day, it's going to have all of that pressure right there.
Okay.
But honestly, this isn't my design. This is Condor's design. It's based off of a very, very classic design. So a lot of the medieval guys who study some of these medieval martial arts can tell you a lot more about that than I could.
Whatever the case, I want to chop stuff with it.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can still chop humans, you can chop pallets, you can chop cans, you know, you name it.
Awesome.
One of our presidents or founding members is a avid hunter, and he really liked the Ontario-style hunting knives that are up north. So we wanted to do our own version of that knife, and this is the Scotia knife. It has a little bit different handle than the ones that you would see out there. We wanted to redesign it to be just more happy for us. And it's a hunting knife with a full a hollow grind secondary bevel. Large hand for mittens, using it with mittens if you're going through larger deer like elk.
Nova Scotia.
Like Nova Scotia.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna botch this, but is Nova Scotia New Scotland? Is that what that's supposed to be?
I think so. Yeah.
So
yes,
Scotia's
I believe so.
Like Scotland is.
Man, I'm an American. I'm horrible with my geography.
I am too, but it's also like. I'm fascinated by languages, even though I'm terrible with them.
Yeah. Scotian, probably. I mean, it almost has a Germanic sound to it.
Yeah, but it's cool looking, and that's a great name too.
Yeah. So if you're fascinated with languages and heritage, I'm fascinated, of course, with big choppy blades. So I was looking at kukris a lot, trying to. We didn't script that at all. But, you know, looking at the history of that, we all have our own single human story where things come from, but we all have things that we all like. Some people like kukris. Some people like Kerrangs. I like everything. And so I decided to try and combine them together, and to make this amalgam, the name may be changing depending on another company's name that might have just came out with an amalgam knife too.
Okay.
And we're friendly. We don't go, oh, you need to stop that. We stop ours first. But this is part kukri, part Kerrang. We were going to call it the Kerrang, but we decided we might get in trouble that way too. So you can see that has a point down the center line. This is a false tip up over the top. See how I'm not like bleeding all over your camera? That's important. And it has a taper all the way at the end, a big meaty convex grind.
Okay.
But it's also really lightweight. And Shane, I want you to go ahead and hold that.
Oh yeah.
Now it's because it has a skeletonized handle, and so that puts all the weight forward. We tested the snot out of this. I mean, we were throwing it at trees, throwing it at all the things we shouldn't do. We batoned with it. We did everything that you're not supposed to do with it.
Right.
You can hold it and carve really, really nicely. It's really, really fast in the hands for you martial artists out there, but it chops like no other. It chops like a beaver chews.
It looks like it, man. Dude, that's awesome.
It chops like a beaver chews.
A beaver chews.
Chews. I've never even said that before.
This little hook right here locks your fingers in, so you're gonna chop.
Yeah.
And not get fatigued and not be readjusting your grip constantly.
Correct.
I love it. That's perfect.
And it's wood too. You know, you see a lot of these guys who like to put their own tape on some of the handles. You can just staple that yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It works really, really well.
Yeah. The braided wire, what did I first see this on?
Dooku
Huron?
Kerrang. Yeah, and the Huron, but the Dooku Kerrang actually has that. That's the same handle from the Dooku Kerrang, if you're familiar with that from Condor.
Is this kind of a newish introduction from you guys? Are you going to be doing this a lot?
I think it makes it look sexy. And you guys can, I mean, putting the sexy back in knives is important. But
#sexy knives.
Yeah, .com. So this actual wire wrap, a little bit of machete history, has been around like since the early 1900s. Collins up in Connecticut used to use it because the indigenous down in South America favored those knives that had that wire wrap all the way down and up. So they would trade their goods for these really, really machismo braided wire machetes. And so that's a task that's stayed with them ever since they started making machetes, and it's popular with a lot of different machete companies.
Nice historic feature, reestablishing on some of these knives. I love it, man. Very cool.
And all right, so this was my poor engineer that I work with. Sometimes I give him a huge headache, and we wanted to try and first make an ulu. And so we had this with an extended handle all the way back here, and we were using it, and him and I liked it. We were like, yeah, this is great. And then we were like looking at it 3 days later, this is the ugliest knife ever. So we went back on it and took it back, and this is called the Nulu Julu because it's a collaboration between Jorge Umana from Condor and myself trying to make a kitchen knife that's more of a camp knife.
Okay.
Back in the old days, in the early 1900s, 1800s, even the 1700s, these knives, these kitchen knives were camp knives. They were used for everything. So they had a more thin look to them to butcher animals, but they were still very, very usable. So this is a dead sexy kitchen knife called the Nulu Julu. Weird name, awesome design.
Check out how thin the wood gets there. Very sexy feature.
That's important for the pinch grip.
Yeah.
Pinch grip is used a lot, and that's why we have bevels on some of our knives here. Right. Pinch grip is used a lot in culinary cutlery arts.
Right.
There's another one, culinarycutleryarts.com. So that's used a lot, but it's actually a great way to choke up on any knife and use it for fine carving and stuff.
It looks like we have a long flat grind going all the way down from the spine.
Yeah, it's a kitchen knife.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what we're going. That's going to be made out of 440 stainless steel.
Okay.
I believe. Sometimes I mess up the specs because my brain starts to swell after the end of the day. And
we have not been throwing out MSRPs at all. But
no.
Will that be on the website?
Yeah, that'll be on the website. This one will probably be in the $50 range.
Okay.
We have a polypropylene knife that'll be street price of around $30 to $40 with $10.95 coming out in the future called the Pterosaur. Be looking for that.
Okay.
We don't have the prototype here because we're still fixing it. It's a polypropylene injection molded sheath, but we want to bring sexy back to the budget bushcrafting market too.
Cool.
Our prices have gotten a little bit higher in the past because we've been trying to oust some of these guys who are selling our stuff at wholesale prices and really hurting the mom and pop stores that want to sell Condor. But now finally our prices can go back down. So you'll be seeing that hopefully in the near future. What happens when you fall off your boat with your knife? Where's your knife go?
Hopefully with you.
Yeah, but in the water, right?
Yeah.
Well, this one floats. It's got a cork handle. So fishing knife, commonly fishing knives around water. This is a new fishing knife, the Angler that we have. It has a combination wood cork handle. The cork helps it float. And it's very, very thin for, your fillet stuff. I press that down, good. Sometimes we have some of these as samples that aren't heat treated, and I've done that before where I'm demonstrating it, bends it over, and I'm like, you guys gave me the spec sample that's not heat treated. That one is.
That's nice, man.
So that's also new this year. We got a lot of fishing knives out there, but they don't tend to get too popular. So buy our fishing knives now. I'm just kidding. Buy all our knives.
Right on.
So this guy, the low drag, we have a popular model called the Swamp Romper out, and this utilizes the same handle. This is more of a thick tactical knife, and you can see that it has a 3 or 4 millimeter thick handle. I used to be able to do that. Oh, it's 3/30 seconds, 5/30 seconds, but I can't do that anymore. It's over an eighth, but under a fourth.
Okay. That's a real good size.
Yeah. It's a heavier, more choppy knife that's out there. It's heavier, more choppy knife.
Heavier, choppy.
Yeah, man. It's a heavier, choppy, Uzi cutting knife. It comes with the leather sheath. This is more if a knife that if you're constantly forgetting your chopper, this one kind of does some of those tasks like cutting down saplings, cutting down bigger things, and it has a little bit of a tactical appeal to it as well. So it kind of goes around that tactical woodsman market.
Talk about the way the grind is done here and what your plan was there.
So that's a full flat grind with the secondary bevel. This bevel is
kind of a long secondary bevel.
Long one, because that makes it easier to sharpen. A lot of people seem to like that. You don't see it a lot in any of the other knives. That's actually where we first started out was with that type of grind. And This one particularly isn't a Scandinavian grind. It's more of a convex one,
Okay.
so that this will work wood better. But it's still thin enough that it can still be chopped and hacked through all sorts of items.
Right.
And it also catches the light really, really well too.
Yeah, good looking knife.
Speaking of catch the light really, really well, this is our EDC Puko. We're now working with linen micarta, the linen paper micarta. So this paper micarta is blacker, it's deeper, it gives it a more sexy appeal when you buff it. And I seem to put a Scandinavian grind, if you know what that is, on like all my knives.
Sure.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna start with the Puko without a Scandinavian grind because this will be an everyday carry one.
Okay.
That's what more of your more common full flat, small secondary bevel knife that's out there.
Yeah, why not? That's cool, man.
Now that's inspired by a really, really cool knife. The gentleman, the designer, isn't around anymore. The Verkapala Puko that's out there that used to be made by, I can't remember it. This is one of my favorite knives of all time. We didn't want to straight up copy his design because I just don't think that'd be great. But it has a lot of his influence in that knife, the Verkapala Puko, which is one of my favorite knives out there.
Feels good. I like the weight in hand. You know,
It's got like a police shield style shape to the handle that makes it very, very ergonomic.
Yeah. Nice, dude.
Alrighty, well that's
Awesome
coming out.
collection.
We got a lot more stuff, but we don't want to waste your brain cells with all of that. So you can check out our stuff at condortk.com, also on Facebook, Instagram, all the fun stuff. Where can we find out more about you and what you do?
The Late Boy Scouts on YouTube. That's
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
And we will be posting this
Facebook
up
and all that
on Facebook, so make sure to go, if you haven't already, go give him a like and a subscription. And do you collect souls?
Do I collect souls? I should get into that.
Well, we're starting a new thing where he can collect your soul if you want. It's pretty handy.
Joe, thanks, man.
Thanks so much.
It's been
It was
a lot of
pressure.
fun.
It was a pleasure, not pressure. It was a pleasure.
I pressured you into this pleasure.
No, it's never a
Thanks,
pleasure
guys,
to do that.
for watching. We're at SHOT Show 2018 at the Condor booth. See you soon.
Well, hello there. My name's Kurt at Blade HQ. This is my Holtzbrook Carpenter axe, and I like to cut steak.